Hey friends, my name is Brittany. I am a homeschool mom of two, and I have a 4-month-old, so three altogether. We have been homeschooling formally for about 2 years now. We did preschool with my oldest. We homeschooled preschool, and now she has been in a formal curriculum for about 2 years now. I'm going to go through all of our curricula that we used last year. For her kindergarten year. She is technically kindergarten by the state that we live in. And so I just go by that because it just makes it easier. I'm going to go through everything that we used. If you have questions, just leave them in the comments below, or you can message me. If you have questions about other things other than this, or want to do something more in depth with one of these curricula, just make sure you send me a message. If you want to know how our day goes, how do we break things apart, or so forth, or how things are organized, just let me know. I really want my space to be an inspiration to families learning to homeschool or starting out to homeschool, because just a few years ago, I was super intimidated by starting to homeschool. I never, ever in my wildest dreams felt that I would be a homeschool mom until I had our first child. And then I felt led to homeschool. Well, then I was super intimidated because I have a college degree, but it's not in education. And I was like, well, I knew nothing about lesson planning. I know nothing about making sure they know XYZ at a certain date and whatever. So I was super intimidated. And a very, very dear friend of mine, that's still a dear friend of mine today, she told me, she was like, Brittany, all you have to be is one day smarter. One day smarter than your kid, and you're golden. Like, you're good. So I just hold on to that, because it's true. As long as you can go one day at a time, then you're good. There's going to be days it's challenging, but there's also going to be days that are just so worth it. You get to be there for all the light bulb moments. You get to learn with your kids. You get to be with them when they experience things that is just so much fun to see the joy on their little faces. My biggest piece of advice would be to pray about it. If you feel led to homeschool, pray about it. Pray that God makes it clear to you where His will is for your family. And He will provide. He will provide what you need. He will provide the direction that you need to take your homeschool in. He will provide. Just rely on Him, and He will provide. Let's see. Another thing that I could advise you guys to do is pray that God will send you a group of mamas that you can cling to. My group of mamas have been such an inspiration. I have a lot of moms that have kids about the same age as I have, and I also have friends that have kids a lot older. And so I just cling to those mamas because a lot of them have more experience, or maybe they're having experience in something that they can just share their wisdom. It's just a magical community once you can cling to each other and pray for each other and just be there for each other going through this journey together. So just be prayerful about where God wants you, and He will lead you in the right way. Alrighty. So now I'm going to go through the curriculum. I'm going to show it to you and talk about a little bit about it, and then I will probably just show you the curriculum itself, like open it up and let you see what's inside of it. We decided that our base curriculum, the main thing that we're going to use is classical conversations. So my little girl and my little boy this coming year, both of them will be in foundations, which is the beginning of the program. If you want a more of an in-depth video or a post on Classical Conversations, just leave it in the comments below that you would like to see that. Because right now there's a lot to it, but I will just sort of skim the top. So with Foundations or Classical Conversations, it is memory work. So they memorize math, Latin, science, history, English, timeline, and geography. So they have 7 subjects that they memorize. They memorize factual information, and you have a set every week that you memorize. And they will memorize this for a whole year, and then they go on to the next cycle. So there are 3 cycles that they go through several different times. Once you memorize these things, it's like having like a pegboard in your brain. And then the older they get, they can apply more of the information. So if you start reading or have a history curriculum, then they can sort of just hang those facts on these pegs that they're building in their brains. It's actually really, really cool to watch. And if you trust the process, it will work. My little girl is 6. She's getting ready to be 7. And I'm telling you this not to brag on her, but telling you this, that the program actually works. For math, they learn their skip counting. And she has been skip counting ever since she was 4. Well, this past year, in part of our math curriculum, she had learned multiplication. And multiplication, because of it, clicked for her so well because of her math facts that she learned and memorized in CC. So it's the memorization that she's pulling from, and it just makes things a lot easier. The next thing let me just go back for a second. So with CC, you have to have a math, and then you have to add in like language arts and spelling and reading, depending on the curriculum that you would like to use. We chose to use Ray's Arithmetic. It is very classical oriented. It's a lot of memory work as well. And I'll show you this a little more in depth. But the Ray's Arithmetic is very, very, very memorization based, and it's very old. So I think it's from the 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember exactly, but you can actually find it online for free. But we liked Ray's because it was so easily put together, and it's very memorization driven, and so it's just having that mental math so that she doesn't have to pull out a calculator, or she doesn't have to figure it out on paper. The mental math is a big, big thing, and she's excelled with it, so we're just sticking with that one. The next thing that I want to go over with you guys and share with you guys is the handwriting that we use is handwriting without tears. My little girl wanted to learn cursive last year, so we did the cursive kickoff. What I usually do is I will take one of these little writing tablets that we have, and I'll just copy what she needs to write, and then she'll copy what I wrote. And that way she can do that, and I can work with her on her just fine-tuning things. We will redo cursive at a later year. She did great with it. She just would probably need more fine-tuning, and that way she can write in cursive all of the time. My favorite curricula that we use for reading, spelling is by the company All About Learning. They do all about spelling, and they do all about reading. And when you purchase All About Reading, or the All About Learning curricula, you can do reading or spelling or both, whatever you feel led to. With the spelling, you will get the book, and then you'll get like little magnet tiles that have letters on them that will walk you. They're tactile, so they can make words on a board, or they can push them and do different things with them, different activities to make it sink in a little bit more. And then we have All About Reading. When you order this, you have the All About Reading, the teacher's manual, you have the activity book, and then you have the 3 readers that come with level 1. Again, we're doing, this past year she did kindergarten, and so we did level 1 with her. We did level 1 all about spelling with her. And with my son that was 4, we did all about reading the pre-reading. He is 4, so we just sort of had fun with it. We will revisit this coming year, so that he has basically 2 full cycles of the same curricula, so that we really fine-tune the phonics of it and everything like that. If you have a preschooler that is beginning to have an interest in reading, I have found this with both of my oldest kids. I teach them phonics first. Before I ever teach them the alphabet, I teach them phonics first. It really does allow them to blend things together, and they see the sound more so than they do the letter. And that way, when they are reading, they can blend it better and quicker, and they go from there. We also use the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I have friends that this book didn't work for them. I have friends that love this book. We actually love this book, but I will admit to you, it says 100 Easy Lessons. It took us about a year to get through this book with my oldest, and we've been doing this book for 3 or 4 months with my middle child, my 4-year-old, and it's going to take us about the same time, and I'm completely okay with. What we'll do is we'll go through the lessons, and if they start getting frustrated, we'll go back 5 or 10 lessons, and then we'll start over. It just builds their confidence, and it allows them to sort of just cement those ideas and the topics that are taught in each lesson. Let's see. The last one is first language lessons for the well-trained mind. I love this curriculum. It's very gentle. It's very easy. It sort of gently introduces them into language, and it has been a blessing for us because a lot of it goes along with what we learn in CC, and so she can now start to connect dots in that. I have other friends that have older kids in CC that are at the essentials part, and if you don't know anything about CC, the essentials is where they start learning to write in the proper way and things like that. She has told me that this has been a blessing to them because it eases them into it and makes essentials a little bit easier for when they get there. But yeah, so that's the curricula that we use for kindergarten. We did a lot of the read alouds of the story of the world. So we do not have like a history curriculum that we use. We read the story of the world, and I read it aloud to them. A lot of times during lunch, or sometimes during bedtime. Not a lot during bedtime. We usually keep those for more fun books to lighten the mood before they go to bed instead of like history books. And so so as of right now, that's what we're going with, or we went with this past year. And then I will show you some more in-depth views.